Hello, everybody. Thank you for clicking on. Good evening to you. It is 8:53 on Friday, the 27th day of October, and possibly the preparation for, if not the initiation of the ground invasion of Gaza, has begun. Chris is going to be joining us in a few short minutes. We'll talk about all of that. Hello, always be kind. Hi, Nancy McMonarch. And of course, not going away. Mwah, thank you for everything. Thank you all for everything you do. Thank you for being here, clicking on. And again, we are just getting started. If you're watching and you weren't watching live, thank you for taking the time to watch. We've got a lot to talk about tonight. And again, the possible ground invasion could have actually begun. Um, the reason I'm framing it this way is because we don't know for sure whether this was a significant special forces incursion, or if this was a softening up, um, if you will. And let me get this out of here. All right. If it was a additional softening up, I'll talk about it again, all coming up when Chris joins us. Like so much going on. It's and almost all of it is centered around what's happening in Gaza and what's happening in Israel and what's happening in the West Bank of Israel. What they refer to as the occupied territories of the West Bank. Um, I've talked before about where this is and how this all um, could eventually play out. I've mentioned several times BRICS, which is Britain, or I'm sorry, which is Brazil, Russia, India, Iran. Um, the C is China, and the S is South Africa. Um, five five significant continents represented as the acronym, but a lot more countries potentially in that alignment, and how the alignment's going to come down to NATO. You want to call it NATO, you want to call it the West, you want to call it democracies. You'll hear all these things because the battle lines are being drawn. Things are starting to shape up. Um, we've started well. Chris is with us. It's a little bit early, but let's just pop Chris up here. And Chris, good evening.
Good evening, Barry. How are you?
I'm all right, man. You doing okay?
Good, good, good.
All right. Um, I titled tonight's episode "War is Never the Answer, but Always the Solution," and I do that because it seems like war war just begats war. The other night I mentioned everything that is happening in the Middle East is in retribution for something that has happened in the past. And
And go ahead.
go ahead. Uh,
No, no, go ahead. Go
and
ahead, Barry.
okay, and the U.S. last night, the United States, had an airstrike in Syria on Iranian proxies. Earlier today, Iran or the Iranian proxies or someone attacked the U.S. bases in Syria. It's just going to continue to escalate, is it not?
Oh, it most definitely didn't escalate. Um,
And it and isn't this just like, instead of an eye for an eye, it's like an two eyes for an eye, and it's just
tit
going
for
to
tat.
make everybody blind a lot quicker.
It's tit for tat, you know.
Yep.
But we have to. I mean, you know, The whole thing is they're testing Biden, you see, to see if he's really going to
Yeah.
drop the hammer on them, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, he has to put his foot down somewhere, you see, or else they're going to
Yeah.
run, or if not, they're going to run roughshod all over the United States. You see,
And and it's and we mentioned at the beginning BRICS. It's not like they can run roughshod over us if we don't handle things right.
exactly, and the thing about it is, I remember I told you how we played checkers and everyone else plays chess,
Hmm.
right? Okay, so you see how everyone's aligned. Okay, you like you got Russia, China, Iran, and I mean it's the whole BRICS thing, but right now it's like Russia, China, and Iran. Okay, and they're all lined up. Today I saw that Russia was holding talks with Hamas and Iran.
Yeah, I've got the story.
Right.
Um, Let me find it here. Um, Here we go. Hamas reveals its demands for release of Israel hostages in Gaza, and the demands were revealed in Moscow.
hmm Right. So they're meeting up there, discussing their game plan and what they're going to do. So keep in mind Iran, and we talked about how the United States possibly is getting ready to launch an attack on Iran, right?
Right. Hmm.
And you see how they're moving. Though you told me it's the Eisenhower. It's
Right.
moving to
Right.
off the coast of off of Iran, right?
Right.
Now,
Uh
what would be the reason for that to occur?
huh. It would be a deterrent potentially, or it would position for a preemptive strike, or it's preparation for war.
Okay, well, how about this? Everyone remember the Gulf of Tonkin? I'm sure a lot of people don't
Yeah.
don't remember the Gulf of Tonkin. This is what led us up into Vietnam, correct?
Yeah.
The Gulf.
Admiral Morrison, Jim Morrison's dad, was the commander of the Pacific Fleet, and is held responsible for the Gulf of Tonkin incident.
Right. So this right here possibly could be leading us into another, do we say, Gulf of Tonkin like incident? You see,
In that
why?
we put our assets in vulnerable positions and hope they'll be attacked, not us
Yeah,
attacking ourselves, but
right. But it's the whole thing.
right.
Who's the really
We needed an excuse.
right? We need a justification to do what we want to do, and that's to attack Iran. You see, so what better
Hmm.
way? Okay, let's position our battleships or our aircraft carriers close to Iran, right? And they're gonna come out and see what's going on. They might taunt us, we might taunt them, but eventually it's gonna turn kinetic, and we don't know
Right.
who is gonna attack who, right? But
Somebody's
bottom
going to
line,
fire.
right? Someone's gonna fire. We don't know. It could be the U.S., it could be the Iranians. Well, anyway, here we go, right? And there's your
Hmm.
justification for us to strike Iran. You see,
Right.
so um,
And it BRICS is presented primarily as an economic um, an economic group. Um, will they have a similar Article 5 like clause in their BRICS agreements that if one is attacked, all are attacked, such as NATO has Article 5?
I'm not
So
so
that
sure.
if we attack Iran, does that automatically bring Russia and China in against
Well,
us?
it's. I don't think it's a written rule. It might be something that's unwritten. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
where
Or
Iran,
something that's just recently been agreed upon.
exactly. Iran and Russia or have become somewhat close. I don't know if it's because of the United States. Maybe they're both trying to get rid of the United States. But I know if we attack Iran, I do know Russia will be involved in that because they're not gonna put up with that because they're kind of tired of us too. You see, so
Yeah.
um, Iran really, I don't think Iran really has those capabilities to like really beat us. So therefore, they have to have a little bit more back, and that back comes from Iran, or excuse me, that backing is going to come from Russia.
Russia.
So, right.
Yeah.
So we start a fight with Iran. Iran's got some, like some protection, right? And that
hmm
protection is Russia, and then it's gonna be Russia, Iran, you know, attacking
Against us in Israel.
exactly. You see, but then you still have all the rest of the proxies
Right.
attacking,
Yeah.
you know, um,
And
us.
talk about that for just a second, because again, the thing last night was U.S. airstrike on Iranian proxies.
Mhm.
Um, are we correct in assuming these proxies are like the volunteers of Iran or is this isn't the Republican Guard?
No, no,
Um,
no. These are militias. These are
these
militias,
are like militias coming out of Iran,
right? Yeah, and
funded
and,
by
and
Iran.
right, and they're Shia, and they're going to be Shia Muslim, right?
Okay,
Because that's
all right.
that's who Iran normally, you know, funds is going to be other Shia Muslim groups to
hmm
attack, the United, our bases and our servicemen overseas in Iraq and Syria. You see,
hmm
so the whole thing about that is because it's a militia group, they're going to be hard to like pinpoint. You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
They're hard to pinpoint. But what's not hard to pinpoint is um, Iran's bases in Syria. You see, so we can hit the bases all day long,
Right.
but it's hard for us to hit the militias. You see,
hmm
so um, you have to be concerned about that. But then also Hezbollah. All right,
Out of
Hezbollah.
Lebanon.
Right, Hezbollah's got a very very strong presence in Lebanon. They're a very strong paramilitary unit. Okay, and just like Hamas, there's the political side of Hezbollah, and then there's the military side of Hezbollah. Hezbollah has, I think, almost 150,000 rockets. Unlike Hamas has rockets, but Hezbollah
Not
also has
anywhere close to what Hezbollah has.
no, Hezbollah has missiles too.
Yeah.
Okay, so um, those missiles and the rockets, it's almost be like Hamas would shoot the rockets into Iron Dome to weaken Iron Dome, right? And then once
Have it
Iron
be used up.
right, and then once Iron Dome has been used up, then maybe Hezbollah will start sending more rockets, but then the missiles um into Israel. You see,
Deeper into
yeah,
Israel,
exactly,
because
right.
Hezbollah has better quality rockets.
They get them. They
Um,
get them directly. They get them directly from Iran. You
right.
see, so
And Hamas, everything has to be smuggled in and then put back together, and a lot of times things are repurposed,
well,
and
well, a lot,
they're not
a
the
lot of
most reliable, obviously.
a lot of that stuff they build right there in
In
Gaza,
Gaza, yeah.
right? These are like Qassam rockets. They're not like the
Yeah.
missiles. These are
It's
like
not like when Hezbollah gets involved, it's we're going to see a difference in
exact.
impact.
Yes, definitely, especially when it comes to troops as well. You see, if Hezbollah goes into Israel, well, now you got a problem because those Hezbollah forces are actually very well trained, very well
And
trained.
we assume they've been training for an invasion.
Right. Now keep in mind, remember in Syria, when we were using Daesh to get rid of Bashir al-Assad.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay. So you have to remember IRGC and Hezbollah
Mm-hmm.
were there on the ground, you
Mm-hmm.
know, fighting against Daesh and us. Okay. So we use
Mm-hmm.
Daesh as a proxy to get rid of Bashir al-Assad, but it failed.
But it failed.
Failed. Right. So now you have to keep in mind that Hezbollah and IRGC, they already have experience. I mean, a lot of experience, more so than the Israelis do, because the Israelis called up their reserve forces, and they really don't have that type of experience. You see?
And, and I mean, uh, urban fighting.
Okay.
Um, um, reservists aren't going to have been extensively trained in the
Nope.
kind of combat they're going to be seeing if they go
Nope.
in.
Nope. And see, and this is the difference between you having soldiers and having warriors. Okay.
Okay.
IDF has soldiers. Hamas has warriors.
Okay.
Okay. I take warriors any day over soldiers when it comes to irregular warfare, unconventional warfare. I'm going to stick with the warriors. But once again, remember we talked about the community support in
Hmm.
unconventional and irregular warfare. Here's the
Right.
thing: Israel is not going to have any community support whatsoever because
No.
it really doesn't even matter because their end state is to get rid of the Palestinians altogether. So you see all these airstrikes on the infrastructure and the hospitals, they're wiping out the Palestinians all the way around. You see? So them going in with the tanks and just obliterating anything and everything, it's telling you right now, look, we're not going to leave. We're going to decimate everything. And furthermore, since they cut all the communications off, right? What should that be telling you?
Nobody's going to be. Well, they're going to be doing things they don't want seen, or they sure don't want live streamed.
Exactly, right? Because they want no transparency.
Right.
You heard what I guess the defense guy said. He's like, oh, all the gloves are off. We're gonna do
Yeah.
whatever we need, and here it
Yeah.
is, right? They're gonna do um, whatever they want. No one's gonna be able to see it, so no one can say anything. You can't report something if there's no comms, right?
Right.
You might be able to tape it, but nine
Yeah.
chances out of 10, they're gonna kill you anyway. So what good
Right.
is it?
Yeah. You if you're dead, you can't play your tape.
Right. So guess what? There's going to be one narrative, and one narrative only. It's going to be Israel's narrative of how things went down. No one else is going to be around to say anything.
One of my fears, Chris, is that, and it's more than a fear. It's more like I know this is coming. Um, we're going to have images of hostages that supposedly have been killed in either airstrikes or direct raids from either Israeli ground troop or special forces.
Hmm. Right. So,
So
um,
it becomes propaganda. It becomes who really killed them, and then and it's just like the bombing of the hospital, bombing of the mosque. It's really not going to matter because the propaganda is going to be spun on both sides. It's already whose side are you on?
right. And that's why it's important to stay neutral. You know, for us,
Right?
you should know in this line of work, you should never pick sides.
No,
Okay, you're here
no.
to be objective. You're giving the facts of what happens, and you let the audience decide from there. Hey, am I going to be on this side, that side, or am I going to remain neutral?
Yeah, And we need more places doing this,
right,
you know.
right.
But anyway, um, the carrier group Eisenhower
Hmm.
um, has been diverted. It was supposed to join the Gerald R. Ford in the Eastern Mediterranean. It's been diverted to the Persian Gulf, as we mentioned earlier, as we touched on earlier, off of the coast of Iran. What's the quickest way for them to get there? Is it through the Suez Canal, or is it all the way around the
I,
uh, Cape of
I'm
Good
I'm
Hope? Or
I'm thinking it would be like the Suez Canal. That's what I'd be thinking.
okay, all
You
right,
want to take the path of least resistance, right?
okay. Will Egypt or can Egypt prevent warships from going through the canal?
Well, it's theirs, right? Of course they can
Hmm.
prevent it. It's
Okay,
theirs.
all right.
They, they,
I
they,
didn't know
they
if there was
control
some
the
kind of
control.
international agreement that allowed it, or if Egypt just has control over, you know,
Right.
who
Well,
goes through.
right, if it's under Egypt's control, right, they can be like, oh, well, no, you're not going to pass through here. You see, but
Hmm.
since the ships are like pretty much already there,
Hmm.
Egypt's like, all right, yeah, go ahead, do what you got to do.
Okay. All right.
You know, yeah.
Okay. All right. Um, China has a aircraft strike force headed to the Eastern Mediterranean.
Yeah, I don't know too much about China's um, navy. Their maritime, um, what they're capable of doing. You know, no, I've never heard them do too much. Like just like our navy. I'm not all that familiar with our naval capabilities.
Yeah,
So
I'm glad you brought that up because I'm going to try to get someone from the Air Force, someone from the Navy, someone from the Marines, and someone from the Army uh, to um, form a panel for we do this Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, maybe a Tuesday or a Thursday. Have a
right,
panel with people that are familiar because this isn't going to go away. This is just going
no,
to increase, and we want to get quality information. Uh,
exactly,
so everybody listening, you just heard what I just said. If you know somebody in the Marines, somebody in the Navy, recently out of the Marines, the Navy, the Air Force, or the Army, that would be willing to come on and talk, maybe in a panel with three other um, veterans, or if you're in reserve or whatever, you'd like to come and give your expertise, let me know. Americandufus@gmail.com. Okay.
yeah,
Um, China also has a carrier group that has gone out from the, I think it's Bashiri Channel, and has positioned itself behind Taiwan.
okay, all right. So
Are the
we
pieces are the pieces coming into place?
yeah, they are. I really think China might be waiting for maybe us to even attack Iran, or
Just
even
to be
waiting
even
for
more preoccupied.
right.
Yeah,
So
makes sense.
therefore they can attack Taiwan, right? And now remember talked about having three fronts, right? We talked about three fronts and how there's
Hmm.
no way in the world we're going to be able to handle three. All we
Hmm.
can really do is handle two.
Hmm.
So this is where this is going to come into play, because it's really now it's really about the economics and how they're going to drain us economically, because there's no way in the world we can sustain a two front war, and heaven forbid Korea or North Korea
North
jumps
Korea
in.
goes into South Korea, and we got four.
Exactly. We're tapped out. You see,
Yeah.
we can't help everyone. So
And we're not that far away from all of this, all
no,
these dominoes tumbling, because Iran has said that their red line is um, Israel going into Gaza, and
Right, and they're doing it right now.
all indications are that's happening right now.
Right, right. The ground
So
invasion is occurring right now.
so Iran comes in on the side of Israel. Iran comes in support of Hamas and Hezbollah. We come in on the side of Israel. Russia comes in on the side of Iran. Is anybody else coming, or is it just going to be us in Israel?
That's in Israel. That's
That's what I
pretty much
figured.
it.
That's what
And
I thought. Yeah.
you have to remember a lot of these other countries don't need that backlash coming from those extremist Islamist groups in Europe. Okay, because
Right. Right.
they have enough problems as is. You see,
Yeah.
France can't handle that. Germany can't handle that. Belgium can't handle that. You see, a lot of those
Hmm.
NATO countries aren't going to be able to handle that at all. So,
All the NATO countries, including us, are just almost prayerful that Ukraine can hang on because they're like the bastion. If Russia rolls Ukraine, they roll Poland, they roll Germany, they roll all the way across to Portugal
right. Well, here's the
potentially.
thing: without the U.S. support and the money and the backing, Ukraine's pretty much done. Truthfully,
Right, right. So if we've got to choose two out of three fronts, if we've got a three front conflict going on, and we've got to choose two out of the three, we can't put men and equipment into Ukraine, and we're not going to be able to put money.
nope.
And if you and I can sit here and figure that out, I'm sure there's somebody in Russia and China that's figuring that out too.
I'm pretty sure they already know that. You know, so it's going to be we're going to be definitely backing um, Israel, and we're going to be backing Taiwan. That's I can tell you that right now.
Okay, all right. Now, um, we are moving the Eisenhower into the Persian Gulf as we've talked about. Um, Potential for it to be attacked is up there, higher than normal.
Uh-huh.
Um, we are doing it either in either as a bait to be attacked, as a deterrent, as a preemptive to conduct a preemptive strike, or um, number four, just because we're moving it into place because we know we're going to war. Um, we're doing all these things. Again, going back to the people, the decision makers in Russia and in China, are they not also tossing out, okay, U.S. looks like it's positioning to make a preemptive strike. Should we make a preemptive strike against the U.S. before they preemptively strike Iran and set the Middle East and the oil market on fire?
All right. So right now it's kind of like a stalemate. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yes, it seems like no one really wants to make that move. You see, but
Yeah,
my concern is that Eisenhower group that's going to Iran or off the coast of Iran. That right there, to me, is just like get ready to get into something. I'm gonna let you know that right
yeah.
now.
It's too provocative for there
Hmm.
not to be some kind of response.
Exactly, exactly. So
It
be
puts
like
it.
I said,
It's like a knife against the throat of Iran
right,
in their eyes because
right.
it's an
So
effective strike group.
right. So it just like I said, be on the lookout for something like the Gulf of Tonkin incident because that's why I really think that's gonna go. I
Okay,
really do.
all right. Um, I've got I've got some stuff here um, from the site formerly known as Twitter.
Hmm.
It's X, and we've talked about South Africa. Um, I don't know how true this is, but a report came in yesterday. The South African Air Force document mentions one-way passage requested for aggressive humanoid aliens recovered in a UFO crash to be sent to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Huh. So they got aliens? So they have
It's,
aliens?
it sounds like South Africa has aliens and they don't want them anymore, and they're trying to give them one-way passage to Wright-Pat. That's the only thing I've got that's rather lighthearted. I just want, and who knows, this may not be lighthearted at all. This may be even more threatening to humanity than everything we're talking about. But um, I wanted to get your opinion on this. Um, Propaganda, let's
Mhm.
say. The Israel Defense Force has released an infographic showing the Hamas headquarters and terrorist complex beneath the Al Shifa hospital in Gaza City.
So yeah, I heard about that. So what they're saying is, yeah, they have terrorists. They're harboring the terrorists underneath the hospital,
And
and
that's why the hospital was struck.
yeah, well, okay, that is that their command and control center? Is that what they're saying?
um, they're saying it shows Hamas headquarters and terrorist complex, is all it says.
Okay,
But
all right.
again, this is AI computer generated, an infographic, just to give the impression that they know, or give the details of what they know, depending on how it's looked at.
Yeah, well, it
But
sure is funny. It sure is funny that they had that information but couldn't stop the attack on on uh on their country. You see what I'm saying? I
yeah,
just
yeah,
find that really odd,
yeah.
right?
Again, a Gulf of Tonkin kind of thing. That we
Hmm.
knew it was coming. We let it happen so that it justifies what we want to do, which is, we being Israel at this point, or
Right.
in this situation, what we want to do is wipe Palestine off the Palestinians off the map, just remove them from the
Exactly.
conversation.
So
So,
so here's the thing. They're targeting the hospitals, right? I
mhm.
think I talked to the audience about this before. Is that they want to get rid of the doctors as well. You see, and I talked about, hey, you get rid of the doctors. So if you bring the people into the hospital, there are no doctors. The people are going to die regardless. You see, because they
Yeah.
can't be treated. The doctors and the nurses, they can't treat anyone because they're either injured or dead themselves. You
And the
see,
object of war is to kill as many people as possible so they quit fighting.
right? And it's just like I said, it's not so much about, yeah, they're trying to get rid of Hamas, but the Palestinian people are Hamas. So you get rid of
In Israel's eyes.
exactly, right?
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Barry, let me ask you something.
Okay.
Do the information I sent to you earlier today about that
Mhm.
the massacre that happened at
Mhm.
Deir Yassin?
Mhm.
Okay. Um, did you want to discuss that at all, or do you want to leave that for later on?
Let's leave that for Monday.
Okay, we'll do. We'll do that.
All right. Um, because I got a few more things here I want to get your impression of here. The Bataan Amphibious Ready Group, um, featuring the USS Carter Hall and approximately 2,500 Marines from the 26th Marine Expeditionary Unit, have entered the Red Sea today, heading towards waters near Israel.
Hmm.
That's to be expected. And we see the Bataan and the Carter Hall. So, Marines, if when you hear the Marines are moving into the area, the Marines are generally first in, and in almost all situations. Am I
Normally,
correct?
normally, they're first. The
Okay.
first one's in, the last one's out.
Right. First in, last out.
Hmm.
Right.
So,
Okay.
so
Um, go ahead.
do you remember when I told you what that general said about if you even touch that Mew, he would. He said he was gonna make all those that had anything to do with the Mew, they said someone else would be raising their children. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
this, he's setting the tone for, all right, hands off
And
you.
yeah, it's what the Marine Corps general said. If you mess with the Marine units, your kids are going to grow up without
Right,
parents.
exactly. Right. Someone else is gonna be raising your kid.
So he's setting. That's what you mean by setting the tone.
Exactly.
He's letting both sides know that when the Marines come in, they're coming in to do what they do.
Exactly. So, but they're coming in actually to be support. That I don't believe, because the Marines. Oh,
But that's the cover story.
right.
They're coming in under as support.
Right.
That's the deployment excuse,
Hmm.
but they're actually there for when they're needed
Exactly. Exactly.
to do what they do.
Exactly. And that's,
Okay. Um, I got just a little bit of the footage of the hammering Hamas was taking. Assuming Hamas was taking the hammering Gaza was taking. And I, in one of our conversations today, I said that flares would go up,
hmm
and then you'd hear the drones in the area, target acquisition, I'm assuming, and then the heavy firepower would come in on the area where the flares had been.
right.
Is that pretty much standard operating
Well,
procedure?
it's not really standard operating procedure, but I think that might be Israeli SOP for something like that.
Okay.
You know, um,
As far as dealing with urban environment.
right. But furthermore, though, if they're looking for um, target acquisition, and looking for like humans or whatnot, keep in mind those drones.
Mhm.
Keep in mind those drones have they have thermal, right? So they can pick up some
Right.
signatures. You see,
And they know what buildings the people are running into
right?
and where they're at.
Exactly. So, um,
And they were also dropping massive smoke bombs. It was like they covered almost the entire northern part of Gaza with like a fog. And my uh, in seeing that, I thought, okay, well, I bet the thermal optics on the tanks, the smoke doesn't impact, and I bet the laser sighting of the small arms, I bet the smoke doesn't impact any of that. It impacts the people trying to see you coming in. Am I wrong
right.
on that?
So smoke is we use for concealment purposes.
Right.
Okay. So, um, a lot of times, when we drop smoke, all right, we'll let it billow up for a little bit, then we'll move, and we know that the enemy is not able to see us. You see, they can't see us.
Hmm.
So maybe we have to get to
But you can see them
yeah, sometimes,
sometimes, depending on the optics.
exactly. So
Okay.
the
All right.
the whole thing about that is when we're moving from cover to cover, all right, and there's an open space between cover, we're gonna drop smoke, all right, to conceal our movement to the next point of cover. So I don't know exactly what they're using that smoke for there, all right, but
Hmm.
I can tell you from what we do, with like if
Hmm.
I'm in the middle of a tick, or we call troops in contact, and we have to move
Hmm.
from one point to another, from point A to point B. Point A has cover, point B's got cover. So anything in between has no cover. We pop smoke, let that smoke billow up, and then we're gonna move. One person's gonna move to the next location. Everyone's gonna follow in until they get to point B. So that's the purpose of that
Okay.
concealment.
All right. What we've got on the screen now is outgoing rocket fire from what we had on the screen. Outgoing rocket fire from Gaza City. The Iron Dome Israeli defense system was taking out most of the rockets as they came out. Two Israeli officials have told Axios that the decision to expand ground operations in Gaza was made last night
Mhm.
by the Israeli War Cabinet alongside Prime Minister Netanyahu, following reports from diplomats that hostage negotiations in Qatar had reached a stalemate. But yet Hamas is announcing things from Moscow.
Right. So, um,
Is this a difference between political part of the party and the
yeah.
military,
So, yeah,
paramilitary?
exactly. So that stuff that's coming out of Qatar, like that's the political, that's
Hmm.
the whole political branch that's up in Moscow
Okay.
right now. Okay.
All
And
right.
of course,
All right.
the military side is the one that's doing all the fighting. So, um,
Yeah.
you know, the Qataris, excuse me, the Qataris are also backing Hamas. You know that, right?
Right.
And
I believe that.
yeah, and you do know that they've actually been funding Hamas for
I'm
some
not
time,
surprised. To, yeah, I've put that out there as alleged, but I'm not surprised to learn it's
right? And
confirmed. Yeah.
so, because and like I said, everyone's wants to target Iran, you know,
Hmm.
and I told you
But it's not just Iran.
no, it's also Qatar as well. You see,
All right. Some of our allies are involved in this as well,
right? So, um,
or supposed allies.
supposed
Until it comes down to religion and blood.
right. So even with that, just like I was reading an article today about how the U.S. asked Qatar to turn down the volume on Al Jazeera's news coverage,
Right.
right? So
Yeah, I reported on that the other day.
right.
Yeah.
So
Which made me immediately question, okay, if the US is asking that, that pretty much tells you the US is influencing our local media coverage as far as national media coverage here.
exactly right. So they want to
Yeah.
they want to keep the pro Israel thing going on, right? Well, while um, Al Jazeera is countering that with the pro
Hmm.
Palestinian side, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
they want to, oh hey look, why don't you like tone it down a little bit because
Tone it down a little bit. Yeah.
because we want to get all the support for Israel, and Al Jazeera's like no, Qatar's like I don't think so, you know.
Yeah.
This is
Which means they'll probably ratchet it up instead of toning it down.
exactly. I mean that's what I would do, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
If someone comes in,
Okay.
go ahead.
Well, I'm just going to say, as far as confirming even more so what we've been talking about, that it appears a full scale invasion of Gaza's, if not underway, it is the groundwork is being laid. Two senior U.S. officials told CBS Israeli strikes and ground operations tonight. This was 3 hours ago. Appear to be the rolling start to full scale invasion of Gaza.
Exactly. Well,
So
yeah. So this is just a kickoff to it, right? They
yeah,
like
and it's not like, this isn't like the Civil War where all the troops rush towards all the other troops at the same time, and the battle's about to begin. As far as an invasion goes, it's going to come in um, unit by unit and over a period of time. It's not everybody's going to gather around the border and rush in.
no, no. So
You know,
it's gonna be long, slow.
just so people,
It's gonna be
right?
long, slow,
Just
and
so
monotonous,
people understand.
right?
Yeah,
It's just long. It's
yeah,
gonna be long, slow. It's long, slow, and drawn out. So, um, yeah, people need to understand that.
and
Until it
also,
comes to going house to house, door to door, then it's like time for close quarter battle, right? Um,
and that will come.
right, exactly. That's definitely going to come.
And 3 hours ago, airspace over Israel and Lebanon totally empty of any commercial aircraft. So no fly zones over Israel and Lebanon.
Yeah.
Are we seeing dots, Chris, that we're connecting?
Yes, all day, right?
Yes. Yeah. 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 Okay. Here was the 35 PLA. That's the Chinese Air Force. and 15 vessels around Taiwan detected 6 a.m. on the 23rd. So 4 days ago. And then yesterday, um, this carrier strike group headed into across the Bashi Channel and entered the Western Pacific and have moved back behind Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
So um, their pieces are, it seems to me anyway, the pieces are being put in place not only by us but by everyone.
Right, and I told you that this is all chess right now. It really is.
Right.
It really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see if anybody blinks, if deterrents work, or if it's um, if it's just a continued escalation, which is what we're kind of
Well, it's
anticipating.
going to be continued escalation. That deterrent stuff, Iranians, Hezbollah, they are not afraid of the United States whatsoever.
Yeah, they don't have they don't have those rules in their book
Right. So
as far as deterrent.
right. So President Biden can't.
Yeah, we've circled back to where we started.
Right. So President Biden
President,
can't be BS in here. He can't be, right? Because they're gonna call us bluff. And once you
yeah.
call your bluff, they're gonna start putting it to the United States. Okay, they're gonna start
And a couple of weeks ago, I asked you, my concern is, will Biden pull the trigger when it comes time?
right,
And it's coming time.
here it is right here, right? So like
Yeah,
those strikes on the Syrian base, the Iranian Syrian base. Yeah, okay, you got to do that. You got to keep it up on them. You can't.
yeah.
You kind of have to put your foot on their neck. You know,
You can't show weakness
right?
at all.
Exactly, exactly. Because that's just like them smelling blood. It's like you being in the ocean and you're a shark and and you smell blood. And there's a blood trail and let's get them. That type of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so
And
so someone had brought up something about Trump here in the audience, right?
okay,
You
Trump should have taken over Greenland like he wanted to.
yeah, but I really wanted to touch upon that. Um,
Okay,
with
on
Iran,
the Greenland thing or just
just,
Trump and Iran?
just Trump and Iran, since
Okay.
since he took out Soleimani, right?
Hmm.
He opened up that can of worms, okay, for himself, Pompeo, and whoever else.
Yeah, they put a bounty. He's still got a bounty on his head, as far as I know,
Yeah,
from Iran.
yes,
From Iran.
yeah, he's on their list. All right, he's what we call a high value target at this point. Okay, and he better watch his back because Iran is definitely coming for him. Right now, it's kind of like they don't have the upper hand, but if this stuff continues to go on, and you start to see the attacks here in the United States, trust me, they're going to go after him. It might be a suicide bomber, who knows, but they're going to get him sooner or later. So um, I want everyone to be aware of that because that it's definitely going to happen. The same way they did
And
Salman
go
Rushdie.
ahead.
Remember? Does everyone remember Salman Rushdie,
Yeah,
who wrote
yeah.
the Satanic Verses? So
Hmm.
it took them, however, I don't know how many years, 20 years, 25 years to get to him, but eventually it got to him and his family. You see, it took them that long, but they got to him. And see, a lot of Americans don't understand. Well, okay, we hit them. They expect us to hit back. We expect them to hit back right away. No, time is always on the
Yeah.
side.
We are a nation of now.
Right,
We want things right now. We expect our food right now. We expect everything, everything now. Uh, the rest of the world has much more patience than we sometimes display.
right. So um, I hear Trump talking a lot. I'm like, dude, you better like lay low for a little bit instead of run your mouth so much because they're gonna come for you, and I know that for a fact. So
Wow. Okay. All right. Okay. One final thing here. Um, Before we let you go, and hopefully you'll be Monday night. We'll talk about this other thing that um, hasn't. I don't know if it's ever really truly been discussed at with any kind of depth. So it's something we need to talk about. But here at the end, I'm hearing it started 2 days ago. Putin had a heart attack, and he's hooked up to machines, and all of this and all of that. And then I'm hearing from the Russian side, which is what I expect here from the Russian side. There's absolutely nothing
Of
wrong with
course,
him.
of course.
Uh, which is what they would want to have out. And even Putin's inner circle would want out because the people in the cabinet that don't want Putin leading anymore are looking for any excuse to get him out.
Hmm.
So he's got he's got enemies all around. If something were to happen to him, do you know anything about Medvedev? The would that guy come back in?
Do you know? I honestly, I don't even know. I'm not an expert on like that whole Russia thing.
Yeah,
Y'all,
I'll know a little more by Monday.
what?
I'm talking to somebody tomorrow, or somebody's supposed to respond to me tomorrow. They didn't have time before the show tonight. I asked him about this guy, who I think will probably replace Putin if something were to happen to him.
Okay, all right, yeah. So,
All right,
uh,
we'll have more on
they,
that on
they'll,
Monday.
yep, sure enough.
Um, okay, missiles land. One final thing: missiles landed in Egypt last night.
Uh huh.
Um, we need to also just mention to the people watching the potential for um, collateral damage to nations that aren't directly involved that could potentially make them become directly involved quickly.
Right. So that missile, um, I'm thinking it might have come from Yemen,
That's what
possibly.
they said. It came from the Houthi from Yemen.
Right. So that missile ended up short in Egypt,
Okay.
and like we shot down the last missile,
Mm-hmm.
that was
Mm-hmm.
headed towards Israel.
Mm-hmm.
If think about it, that one didn't make it, then do you think all the rest are going to make it? Possibly.
That's a long way. That's shooting all the way up the Red Sea, basically.
Exactly. Right. So that then, like I said, that is a long way. I mean, it isn't, but it is.
Yeah,
You know.
especially for when you consider these are rebels that are getting not secondhand but third or fourth hand stuff from
Iran.
Iran.
Yep. Yep.
And of course they're not going to have the best most guided of munitions. They're just going to kind of set it off and it goes where it goes.
Right. Right. So um, they want to get involved, right? If they get involved, make sure that your ordnance, your missiles can make it to the destination, right? And you don't take out your own brothers,
Yeah, you don't take out the Egyptians, they're going to be honked off at you.
right? So,
All right.
um,
Um, okay. Um, Fill up your gas tanks. I mean, that's going to be one of the calls at the end of every show is make sure you keep your gas tank filled up because anything escalates over there and the oil fields come into play and gas just goes through the roof.
oh, guess is going to go sky high. So let's just say that um, Iran gets hit, right?
Hmm.
Automatic gas prices go through the roof. And let's just say for shits and giggles, Iran hits Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen to gas prices
Yeah.
then?
Because they've done it before.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it'll be tripled. You will wake up one
Exactly.
day and gas
So
prices are tripled because we
right.
go
So
to
no,
sleep and everything happens over there. Then we wake up and it's night over there, and everything's already happened, and we weren't aware the gas prices tripled overnight our time.
and guess what? No one will be going anywhere because no one can afford the gas.
Right.
So guess what that means? Our economy starts to our economy shuts down.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah. Which is what China's wanted all along. They want us decimated without ever firing a shot. Russia wants to blow us off the face of the earth, as does North Korea. So it's not a, you know, it's, we're in some serious times.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All day. All day. So I mean, there's numerous possibilities for this to play out, and yeah, like I told you, the economics is always the biggest factor in anything because
Yeah.
economics controls all, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
All right, man. All right. We'll see you Monday night.
sure enough, I'll
All
be
right.
here.
Anything else?
No, that's gonna be it, and we'll discuss that other stuff for Monday because that's a
Okay.
very very big topic.
I agree. I agree, and it's something that it just adds another piece that people need to be aware of when they're trying to figure out what's really going on over there.
Exactly.
All right, man.
Okay,
I'll
Barry.
talk to you
Well, thank
soon.
you.
We'll see you Monday night.
Well, do. Thank you very much
All
for
right.
having me back on the show.
Oh, thank you as always, and on behalf of the viewers, Chris, thank you so much for doing this. We greatly appreciate your expertise. Between the two of us, we kind of give the viewers a unique picture, and we try to do it unbiased. We stay neutral. We just look at strategy and tactics and positions and things like that. We're not judging who's right or who's wrong. And when I do say anything along those lines, I'm saying the more you look at this, you're going to find that there aren't when all this plays out. So with that being said, thank you, Foxy Lotus. Thank you. Always be kind. And Lauren B, thank you for being here. Everybody that was here, thank you. Next Monday, I'm going to come on again about 10 minutes till, and we'll bring Chris on at 9. And then after after we wrap up, after Chris and I wrap up between 9:30 and 9:45, I'm going to stay on for a few more minutes. And if anybody wants to come up with opinions or anything like that or questions, we'll do that next Monday night as kind of like an after show, if you will. So until Monday night, if not before. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot a couple of things. Lori Arnold put a live up today. You need to go check it out. She was filming Halloween decorations and attempting to find them, and it's a good stream. It'll lighten the mood, and if you need your mood lightened, it's a good one to pick. Also, tomorrow the air show is in town, very nearby, and we will be live streaming or recording and showing at a later time what we can see from the air show. We're not going to be inside the air show, and we'll talk about that tomorrow on the stream. But we will be showing what's going on in the air. I've got a location I think we can be at that I won't get tossed off of. Hopefully, anyway. So we will be on tomorrow in the afternoon, sometime between noon and 4. Um, that's both of us. Lori's going to be streaming too, and we'll have two different perspectives as we always do. So hit the subscribe, hit the notification, and hopefully join us. And hit the like button if you would. It really does matter. It makes a difference with who eventually sees the program. So again, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Of all the places you could go and watch, you chose to spend your time here, and it's greatly appreciated. Namaste, shalom, shalom, assalamu alaikum. Blessings be upon you from the Most High, the one true living God, if you so desire them. Otherwise, positive vibrations. Love you all like chocolate chip cookies. Wish you nothing but peace. Live long and prosper. That's for my man Telus Golf. Thank you for being here. It's a dark world. Try to see you very